Hey guys, welcome to another work vlog. If you're new here, hi, I'm Sahini. I'm a UX UI designer working remotely in Salt Lake City. Today, I'm mainly going to be focused on creating usability tests because we have a conference coming up. So it'll be the perfect time to get some user feedback on certain features that we're currently working on before we put them into production. So I'm currently working on 4 different features and usability tests for those features. So I've currently already finished one. I sent it to my team for some feedback in case, the flow is not that easy to follow for users, or if there's just other parts of the UI we want to have tested. For those of you that have watched my previous vlogs, you know that I use Usability for user testing. So in Usability, I have all my tasks here for users to do. It just syncs with any Figma file you have or XD, and then you can just put in the task summary, the instructions. You have your starting screen and the task completion. You can also add alternative completions as well with the completion screen. You can also do logic jumps, like if something is true or false, it can go to a different task depending on what the user chooses. But it's really nice. Also have different blocks here, single tasks, preference tests, card sorting, really discovering how people understand and categorize information. And what's awesome about these single task ones is once you get the results, you can see video recordings of users, their heat maps, where they're clicking, user flows, and just what the success rate is, what the abandonment rate is. Speaking of Usability, I can go through my typical tech stack I use as a designer. For user testing, I use Usability. For user analytics, I actually use FullStory. FullStory is great in that you can see the exact user journeys your users are having and go and watch their sessions and see where they're rage clicking, where they're abandoning the page, adoption rates of your new UI versus an old UI. We do have versions of a new UI and an old UI, and sometimes users are getting frustrated with something in the new UI, and then we'll see that they just decide to go to the old UI that is definitely not aesthetically pleasing in any way, but for some reason users are going back there. So it's a great way to study why are users going back there. Basically, FullStory's overview, so you can create different segments that you want. You can see the top pages of your product, error clicks, rage clicks. You can see what elements that they are rage clicking on. Also see dead clicks, device breakdown. For UX UI design, I use Adobe XD for the longest time. That's where all my projects were in. So now I'm using Figma, specifically creating mock-ups, wireframes, prototypes. Those are all done in XD and Figma. Creating vector illustrations for our icons, that's done in Adobe Illustrator, and export them as SVGs. For photo manipulation, we have used Photoshop. I haven't really used it for work, but I have used it for my own side project. I've made YouTube thumbnails, book covers, but most of the time I'm honestly using pen and paper. I love sketching and doing wireframes and brainstorming just on regular pen and paper. I feel like it helps me to be a lot more creative. Then for web design, I use Figma, VS Code, and then HTML and CSS. I do know a little bit of vanilla JavaScript, but I know a lot of companies are not really relying on just vanilla JavaScript anymore. You do need to know React or TypeScript. So I'm slowly learning that. It's not really needed for my work. It's just great to have that front-end dev background, so you just really understand the feasibility of your projects. For collaboration, I use FigJam and Zeppelin. Zeppelin is a great way to just export your screen from XD or Figma and keep it in one place for the developers. They can see all the different HTML, CSS needed. Now we are starting to use Figma for developer handoffs. For project management, I use Notion. I'm currently using it right now to see my task lists. I also love all the different templates they have, and I keep a lot of my notes from user interviews and things like that organized on Notion as well. Lastly, this is not really part of the tech stack exactly, it's more inspiration. I get a lot of inspiration and learnings from Medium. I have tons of free articles from designers just like us, and it's awesome. You can just learn so much from there, so much great free material. Look at case studies, really great case studies, and learn a lot. This field, tech in general, whether you're an engineer, whether you're a designer, product manager, there's just constant learning to be done. I think that's probably all the tools that I use every single day.